Well, Carly, it may officially be summer, but we are in full swing when it comes to the weather and also the mosquitoes. You can take action right now to help battle those pesky insects. And Rob Krieger, entomology and education support specialist, that's a mouthful,
yes,
from Pinellas County, is here to tell us what you can do. Thank you so much for joining us today, Rob.
No problem, ma'am.
And do need to point out we have some friends that we will touch on here. I use the term friends loosely, as he did bring some of those pesky creatures with him.
The stars of our show, with all the rain coming in, these guys are going to be popping up pretty regular.
Yeah.
And so the biggest thing is mosquito control is out there, and our whole goal is to protect public health. And so one of the main reasons that we are out there is because mosquitoes are vectors for disease transmission, typically viruses, that kind of thing. And so our overall goal is to get out there and reduce the number of mosquitoes that are out there. It's virtually impossible to get them all, but if we can help you guys keep those levels low, that's our overall goal, and to keep disease from transmitting into the human population.
Well, I was going to say the vectors of virus. I love that line, but hate what it means. And, you know, clearly my mind goes straight to Zika.
Yes, ma'am.
How worried, do we need to be? I mean, you hear the things like, oh, it's going to be a matter of weeks before Florida is going to be impacted. I mean, can you ease our concerns a little bit?
Well, we've had 4 travel-related cases of Zika already in Pinellas County. I can speak for Pinellas County. That's my area of expertise. The weird thing, though, about this virus is it's transmitted in the same way that several other viruses have been transmitted. For example, dengue fever and chikungunya are also transmitted the same way that Zika is transmitted by Aedes aegypti mosquitoes. Okay. So the thing is, if we can reduce the number of Aedes aegypti that's out there, we'll effectually keep Zika out of our area the same way that we've been able to keep dengue fever and chikungunya out of the area as well.
I was going to say, well, how do you do that?
So the big thing is we're urging folks to drain their containers, and that's the single most easy way and pesticide preventative type situation, a little bit more environmentally friendly type way to basically reduce the source of adult mosquitoes. And so I have an example of that right here. So in this little deal here, I probably have about 500 mosquitoes.
Get out of town.
Yes, ma'am. And the thing is the easiest way to get rid of all these mosquitoes is simply just to dump the water out. And so if we can do that once a week, we will break the life cycle of the mosquito essentially and reduce our numbers of adults that can transmit disease. So.
And now what about, I mean, this is what individual people can do.
Yes,
and
ma'am.
then of course they can protect themselves with the bug sprays.
Yes,
and I've heard this rumor that you have to have a certain percentage of like DEET to
yes,
be effective. Give me the lowdown there, Rob.
The weird thing about DEET and that kind of thing, though, is the percentages are getting higher. We're getting close to 30%.
Yeah.
And so there's some other products that have come out that I actually kind of recommend as far as helping out with the DEET situation. That situation is maybe there is less efficacy in DEET maybe now. They're starting to do some work on that to test. So really cool report that came out not too long ago by Consumer Reports magazine was that the active ingredient picaridin and oil of lemon eucalyptus are also very, very good at mosquito control or repelling mosquitoes. And you can usually get about 2 to 3 hours of protection with that. So.
And as far as Pinellas County, what about you guys? How are you trying to steer these little guys away?
What we do is what we call a boots on the ground approach. And so, for example, with disease transmission and things like that, what we actually do is our health department will let us know if there's a possible case in the area. And we are immediately dispatched to that area, and we start doing things like draining containers, talking to residents, educating, that kind of thing. Not necessarily quarantining, but really looking at that neighborhood and really taking a look to see if we have the mosquitoes there that could replicate and pass the virus from person to person. And so once we have a pretty good idea of what's kind of going on there, educating everybody once again, pamphleting the neighborhood, that kind of thing, we set up surveillance to see how many mosquitoes are possibly going to come back or going to continue to be there and follow up. And that whole process takes about 2 to 3 weeks.
Wow, well, you sure educated us today. So thank you very much for your time. Pinellas County is offering a special offer for residents to help with the mosquitoes. Pinellas County Mosquito Control conducts all service calls for free. So for more information, you can call them at 727-464-7503 or just log on to pinellascounty.org/report an issue/.